Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining today's workshop regarding digital disruption, how global brands are adapting to a data-driven marketing future, or better, how global brands are able to adapt programmatic marketing. You're all here now for 45 minutes. I try to be not longer than 45 minutes. First, let me introduce me and our co-host Ed Montes. Actually, my name is Sascha Berlik. I'm the General Manager Europe for DataXu. I founded in 2008 the first European programmatic marketing company in Europe. And this company was bought in 2011 by DataXu and represents now the European operation of DataXu with 5 offices in Europe, headquartered here in Cologne with a large office in London, an office in Madrid, one in Milan, and one in Paris. With this organization, DataXu is the largest programmatic marketing support and engineering organization in Europe. With me is Ed Montes. Ed Montes is our Global Chief Revenue Officer. He's heading the global sales organization based from Boston. As you have heard now, DataXu is a global company. We have all in all 12 offices, handful offices as well in North America, an office in Singapore, an office in Brazil, in Sao Paulo, as well as in Australia. So what is DataXu? You can explain DataXu quite simple with 3 bullet points, which is data, insights, action. Means the data part is collecting all the data you have about your customer. If it's your data you have in your company, if it's your website data, and. With the insight part, you're able to understand much better your customer based on all this data you have collected. Let's call that big data. And you will be able to engage much better with your customer. The action part in the end makes it able for you to execute based on your data, based on your better understanding of your customer in the media market. So you execute based on all your knowledge of your customers or potential customers in the real-time advertising environment, in all your pre-bought media, if it's mobile, if it's video, if it's display, or is it social. So you have a fully integrated programmatic marketing stack to optimize your return of investment. So why we're here? What are the goals and objectives of this workshop? What I really hope is that after this workshop, you can go back to your organizations and you have a new view on your organization and an understanding what needs to be changed to really make a transformation, a step-by-step transformation, to be a real programmatic marketing company, a programmatic marketing department possible. I want you to learn from other brands who are currently undergoing this transformation. We are working globally with dozens of international brands with a global footprint who made the decision 3 months ago, 6 months ago, even 2 years ago to change the marketing department into a programmatic marketing department. So let's have a look at the first slide, why we're here. And more importantly, why does it matter, or does it really matter? Yes, of course. There was a recent Going Global study from the US-American IAB, the Internet Advertising Bureau, and the research group Winterberry Group. And they revealed that to date, local and cross-border industry efforts to build programmatic capabilities outside the US have been concentrated in 4 core markets. The core global markets are the UK, it's Canada, Australia, and France. These 4 core markets outside of North America are the markets who are currently focusing most, or where the brands are focusing most on programmatic marketing. But, and that's pretty important, there are other countries who are currently planning to diversify and to expand substantially over the next 2 years. So
The focus will change on still the UK. It's, of course, the 51st state of America, so whatever happens in technology in the most innovative country of the world will happen first in the UK. Then, surprisingly, France. France has the largest programmatic industry efforts, followed by Germany. So this will happen in the next 2 years. The shift towards data-driven marketing is real. And it happens very, very quickly. So that's, I think, is the main reason why it really does matter for you for being here. Before we really dig into advices, if we really dig into what we've learned so far, I want to give you an example of 3M. It will be a short video. Who is 3M? If you want to define what the product of 3M is, you will have a problem. I think the product of 3M is innovation. They have a more than 100-year history of pure innovation. This company operates in 65 countries globally, 100 years of experience of innovation, and more than 60,000 products. So they're not focusing on one channel. They are market leader in several products in automotive, market leader in several products in medicine, market leader, for example, you know Post-it, you know Scotch tape and all that stuff. 60,000 products. So let's have a look what they are doing, or how they think about it.
My name is Raj Rao. I'm with 3M. My role in the company is in the e-transformation area, and I'm the global leader of our e-transformation initiative. To 3M, programmatic marketing is about harnessing the power of data and insights to drive how we talk and engage with customers and prospects. We don't believe that everyone is going to make a linear path from viewing an ad on a website, reading a blog article, landing on a 3M page, and purchasing a product. That's not realistic. For us, programmatic marketing, the work we've done with DataXu is being able to track that engagement, pinpointing the value of that customer relationship, and then following through with closed-loop marketing and being able to attribute the long-term value of that customer engagement. So for us, the threshold we've set is an 18 to 20x return for every dollar we spend on programmatic marketing. So if we were to invest with DataXu $100,000 in an RTB campaign, we fully expect a $2 million return on it. The biggest change that I've seen at 3M, I think, is the work we've done with DataXu. I think algorithmic marketing is a completely new DNA to our organization. You know, marketers have distanced themselves from data for a long time. And I think programmatic brings them back to data sciences and marketing sciences as a way to drive optimization and to drive long-term value. Marketers need to be experimental. They need to embrace programmatic marketing and contextual-driven marketing to learn what's going to work and be able to test their way into the optimized marketing outcome. They don't have to go on a linear roadmap of trying to figure that out with customers on PCs and then desktops and then laptops and mobile. They can leap into highly responsive platforms today and take advantage of the enormous amount of information and insights already available to them. They just need to find the right partner.
That wasn't an advertising video. You can learn quite a lot out of that. So I think the first thing I've learned out of that is that digital disruption creates new roles. Raj, the guy you've seen here, is head of e-transformation. Sounds a bit like a new fancy startup position, but actually it isn't. It's one of the globalest brands in the world, having a head of e-transformation, heading the global marketing department, responsible for 60,000 products in 65 countries. And what he said as well is the fundamentals of marketing haven't changed. It's still the right message to the right customer period. But what changed here? The way 3M is highly engaged using data-driven marketing to engage with our customers on a personalized base, on a kind of a one-to-one communication globally for 60,000 products. To get to this goal of this highly personalized marketing, they're using all that data. I don't like the term big data, but actually they're collecting all that data. And what they're doing with this data, with the technology, with the platform, is making out of this data actionable data. And this actionable data is leading to data-driven campaigns through all channels on a global scale. And of course, data is supporting them on this road, and that's what we want to talk about. So it's a very, very challenging marketing approach and change needed to go from the classical marketing to digital-driven marketing. So I talk about challenges. I would love to talk about opportunities, and this is not the American way of rephrasing challenges to opportunities. No, not at all. It's not this half-full mentality. It's really opportunities. You are able to get totally new kinds of customer relationships because now you know so much more about your customers you've never known before. You know the user path on your home, on your website. You know how your customer behaves on all the different channels. You get all the different information about which products of your company your customers like in which region, on which day of the time, on which device, and so on and so on. And you can react to that. You can unlock now the real value of data. Based on that, you can optimize the whole customer experience of all your different products you have, all of the one product you have. And finally, and this is, I think, was the main reason in the beginning for companies going in this digital-driven marketing is, of course, you improve ROI. And I promise you, you won't see any case here now where we show you client X used programmatic marketing and improved his ROI by 50%, 70%, 90%. Everybody will do that, and of course it improves your ROI. But it's so much richer, and we will talk about the transformation needed for your company. Another very general thing is that data-driven marketing elevates marketing to become a truly business-critical function. Most of you will say, hey, come on, marketing was always very, very important, and I'm the most important guy in the company because I talk about advertising. Forget about that. You are now talking to business strategy. You give feedback to business strategy. You give feedback not just to product marketing, you give feedback to product development, to product management. You are able to give feedback to your engineering, whatever you are producing. You are bringing customer insights back to the real business, not just to media execution. And all that is so much bigger than advertising. And all that will be concentrated in the future in the marketing department as well. So, getting to this goal doesn't happen overnight. And all I said now is, I think, quite general or quite abstract. I'm totally aware of that. We will go now much more into specifics, and I'm very glad that you're all still here, because that was really general stuff I was talking about. The next slides now will answer most of your questions, and actually they are based on a recent Forrester study, where Forrester asked a couple of questions to a couple of hundred industry-leading marketing CMOs, or CMOs, who are working for industry-leading companies globally. And based on these questions, or based on these challenges/opportunities, we will give you our answer, what our practices here, best practices here, and our experience with large global brands who already went this route. First advice, customer-centric workflows. While talking about that, I always take our example Ford. We'll go into detail later on. Programmatic marketing enables you to be where your customers are, when they are there, and to deliver them a personal, relevant message. I think you've all heard about that a couple of times. But what is a relevant message if your technologies you're getting the information from are giving you inconsistent advice? If all the data you're collecting from Omniture, from Google Analytics, from your Facebook reporting system, from your ad server, and from your media agency, and from your market research are giving you totally different advice. So, to be customer-centric, first you need to stitch together all your technologies. You have to stitch together all your data sources. Easily said. Most of you are working on that for years, together with your IT department. But this is step one. This is something you can't do at once, but you have to look at this at first. Legacy data is insufficient. What does that mean? Old data is old data. 3-month-old data is worthless. Fresh data is the new black. And this is something which is now technology-wise possible. You can get all the information you need in real time. And this is beside just demographic and transactional data you're currently used to. You get as well in real time behavioral data and intent data through all your different information channels. So how is Ford doing that? Ford, actually, they really transformed the whole marketing department. They removed silos. So I think this is the first step for customer centricity. They don't look at the product, for example, the Ford F-150, the Ford Galaxy, and the Ford Fiesta. They removed as well the channel silos, like looking at marketing through the display marketing eye, or the social eye, or the email marketing eye. They're just looking at the customer. They're collecting all the data of all the single customers. And then the technology is doing the decision which product is of interest for this customer. Is it the Ford Fiesta? Is it the Ford Galaxy? Is it the Ford F-150? For this approach, the customer centricity, you need to have cross-functional work streams as well. You have to sit together with all departments in charge of all products to discuss this new approach. And what Ford is doing, beside this, they rolled out all processes so far globally. They're using customer centricity, which is a massive and huge change for the company on a global scale. Next, advice, create hybrid teams. What is a hybrid team? The first is the digital created in the last couple of years a couple of new roles, totally new roles. And I wouldn't say that you don't need anyone with a marketing background anymore in the marketing department. Of course you need, and you all have them. But now you have to add people with analytical skills, people with a mathematic background. You have to match up the teams. You have to match up the guys with the marketing background with the analytical guys to really understand the data you now have access to and you haven't had access before. You have to build analytical skills in-house. And I think that's not all. If you choose a technology partner, you have to leverage these technology partners' expertise because these guys currently know more than you do. So whenever you choose a technology platform, ask the provider not just to give you the best possible technology in the world. They have to give you a learning agenda. They have to show you how a regular training of not just you, as well as your team and your organization will be set up. They have to have distance learning systems in place, and. It doesn't make any sense just to buy a technology and get a telephone number on an island or somewhere. The learning part, the educational part, is very important for you. And the big question for many global brands here is going programmatic, doing it in-house, or doing it through the agency. It's not the question going programmatic or digital-driven or not. Not at all. That's not the question. I'm a big friend of agencies. Agencies are giving this 360 view. They're doing everything for you. And to my mind, for most of the companies out there, it's the best that the agency is the one on the keyboard, that they are doing the work for you. But you need these analytical skills in-house to understand the data, to understand your new value you're having now. And there are big names out there who recently announced to go programmatic. For example, it's a Mondelez, it's a Procter & Gamble, it's American Express, and they are joining the old boys. We call them old boys. Old boys are companies like Kellogg's. Of course, Kellogg's is fully programmatic since 2011. And Netflix, of course. Netflix is a global company. They were always programmatic. So the big ones are moving programmatic. They're doing it in-house. Most of them are leveraging the global scale of the agencies as well. But whenever you learn, or whenever you ask your agency to do all the programmatic work for you, sit together on the table with them. Learn together. You always have to learn. Don't stop learning. Don't let outsourced partners learn on behalf of you, because now you have to change. Over to Ed. Thank you.
Thank you, Sasha.
Sorry.
That's okay. So, as Sasha said, we wanted to develop some best practices or some takeaways for this presentation, but we started the conversation talking about disruption. And inevitably, the greatest disruptive force in the history of mankind is not programmatic marketing, but it is in fact technology. And it's technology that drives the change that we're all experiencing. It's the way our consumers, our customers experience technology. So from a digital center of excellence perspective, what does this change mean? Well, technology has no respect for geography. Technology is a lot like America, right? We think that everything has a single point view, or that everything can be adopted as America does it. Well, technology actually can deliver that promise. And one of the things that we see companies struggle with, or wrestle with, if you will, today, is what's the appropriate model for their distribution of their marketing resource. And we see that many models exist. There's probably not a single correct model. It differs on your sector, the size of your company and whatnot. But what we do see, and what Forrester found, was that having a digital center of excellence to help centralize strategy, centralize technology selection, and then distribute that throughout your global offices, if you will, makes an advantage for you. It creates an advantage. It speeds the delivery of change and the rate of adoption within your organizations. Now, within that model, within that digital center of excellence model, we've seen companies who, like, quite honestly, Reckitt Benckiser, a great example of a global marketing organization with a central coordination with some local execution. We see other models, say, for instance, Citi. So Citi is now trying to determine what's the role of the digital center of excellence and how much authority do the local offices have. And none of this has to do with removing authority or being immune to the cultural nuances of the local geographies. It has everything to do with accelerating the rate of adoption and the best use of the technology, not least of which is being able to capitalize on the data that the marketing world today provides us and that consumers provide us. So that's digital. That's this digital center of excellence. What else? What else can we tell you? Adopting a test and learn approach. Any of you who've been in marketing for more than 6 seconds probably have heard test and learn. But what does this really mean? Extrapolate this out. This is a much larger concept in the world of data, insight, and action. Think of your advertising today not simply as campaigns. Think of them as always-on approaches, and not just always-on approaches to engage your customer, but the opportunity to understand your customer. Thank you. How do you understand your customer? Today's data opportunity lets you leverage what the interactions that you're having with customers, understand your customer, and then to better engage them, delivering a much more customer-centric approach and consistency throughout your touch points. Take what you learn in the digital world, apply it to the analog world, right? And who's doing this well? Well, we have some customers who are doing it well, and there are many, many companies throughout the world who are doing it. We see a large UK telecom company that we work with absolutely taking all of the data, as Sasha pointed out, all of the different channels, online, offline, centralizing them in a repository and using them to actually influence the media mix model for the entire globe. We see other organizations who they have an always-on approach to learning. 3M is another good example. The number one reason that 3M works with DataXu is not so that we can deliver more efficient media campaigns. Yes, Raj talked about ROI, Sasha talked about ROI. Their number one goal is understanding the customer and taking that understanding and how it influences product decision. That is their number one goal. So advertising is a learning experience, much, much more important than simply delivering media. The transformation has begun. I don't think anyone would be in this room if they didn't believe this statement. But what does that really mean? So the biggest news, I think that's, I shouldn't say the biggest news, but one of the things that we're finding in the market today, and I think that is being talked about. So Sasha mentioned the agency model approach. So there's a question in the space today. What is the right approach? Should I work in-house? Should I work through my agency? Should I work directly with a supplier? Whatever type of marketing technology resource it might be. The WFA recently, last week, published a report talking about the different models that exist. I know we'll see some research in the next 2 or 3 weeks describing other models and other requirements. But the single biggest requirement is dealing with change. And it's not just considering change sort of from a technology perspective. Do I do programmatic or not? Do I make an investment or not? It's actually, how do I equip both my internal ecosystem as well as my partner ecosystem to actually take advantage of this change? So it comes down to really 3 categories: people, technology, and process. And the industry does a great job talking about technology and a terrible job talking about people. But one of the scarcest resources that we have are the people who can actually manage this change and adopt this change. So you have to have a huge emphasis on people. You have to recruit for new skills. You have to have an open approach to the skills and where people are coming from. It's no longer that an advertising and marketing team will be made up of creatives or media buyers. There is a real need for the chief technology marketer, if you will, right? There's an entire ecosystem of job creation that is going around on marketing technology. It's the old Gartner statement that the CMO suite, the year I think 2017, will have more technology budget than the IT suite, right? So we as the marketing industry, we as the advertising industry need to be prepared for that, need to recruit for that, and need to be ready to deal with the people part of it, the technology part of it, and also the process part of it. Again, one of the first takeaways that we tried to give was the notion of prepare the workflows, understand the workflows. Process, digital center of excellence is also a process. Understanding process, coordinating process allows you to scale globally. So that's the takeaway there. And that's the end of our discussion. So I believe we have a few minutes left. And I invite Sasha, if you'd like to come back up, if there are any questions from the audience or anything that you'd like to discuss, please raise your hand and we can run the microphone out to you. Well, thank you very much. Please stop by and see us we're exhibiting in the exhibit hall 8. Please stop by and see us if you have a moment to talk. Thank you very much.